My daughter lied about her grades, stole money from my purse, and then blamed me for her mistakes when I refused to buy her a car. Okay, I don't even know where to begin with this, but here I am, trying to process it all. If you've ever been in a situation where someone you love flips your world upside down, you'll get it. Also, if you like stories like this, make sure to subscribe. I promise, my life is a never-ending drama. So here's the deal. I've got a 17-year-old daughter who, up until recently, I thought was a decent kid. Sure, she had her moments of teenage attitude and rebellion, but nothing major. Or at least that's what I thought. Turns out she's been lying to my face for months, and it all blew up in the worst way possible. It started with her grades. She told me she was doing great in school, straight A's, honours classes, the whole deal. I was proud of her. I even bragged about her to my friends, like, yeah, she's killing it in AP classes. She might even get a scholarship. I should have known something was off when she stopped letting me see her report cards, but when I asked, she'd brush it off, saying, oh, everything's online now. It's no big deal. Fast forward to last week. I get a call from her school, and the vice principal tells me she's failing 3 classes and has been skipping half her periods for weeks. Weeks! My stomach dropped. I asked if they were sure they had the right kid because, honestly, it didn't even sound like her. But nope, it was her. When she got home that evening, I sat her down and asked her about it. At first, she denied everything. They've got it wrong, she said. It's probably a mistake in the system. But when I pushed her, she finally admitted it. Fine, I haven't been going to class, but it's because I'm so stressed and you're always pressuring me to be perfect. Y'all, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I said, you told me you were getting straight A's. Why would you lie about that? And she just shrugged and said, because I knew you'd freak out if I told you the truth. Like, girl, do you hear yourself? But that wasn't even the worst of it. A couple of days later, I noticed some cash missing from my purse. At first, I thought maybe I had spent it and just forgot, but then it happened again. And again. I started getting paranoid because I knew I didn't just misplace that much money. One morning, I left my purse on the counter and decided to test her. I counted exactly $60 in there before leaving for work. When I came home, there was only $40 left. I asked her straight up, did you take money from my purse? She gave me this look like I'd just accused her of murder and said, no, why would I do that? But here's the thing. I found a crumpled $20 bill in her hoodie pocket when I was doing laundry that night. When I confronted her again, she finally admitted it, but tried to turn it around on me. Well, maybe if you gave me an allowance, I wouldn't have to take it, she said. Excuse me? I was livid. I said, you're stealing from me and then blaming me for it? Are you serious right now? She stormed off, slammed her door, and didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. I tried to calm down because, honestly, I didn't want to explode at her. I thought maybe I'd give it some time and talk to her again when we were both less heated. But before I could even figure out how to handle that mess, she hit me with something even bigger. The next day, she comes into the kitchen and casually says, so, when are we going to look at cars? I just stared at her, trying to figure out if she was joking. She wasn't. She actually thought I was going to buy her a car after everything she'd done. I said, you've been lying about your grades, stealing from me and skipping school, and you think you deserve a car? And her response almost made me lose it. She said, well, if you were a better mom, maybe I wouldn't be so stressed all the time. You're the reason I'm failing. I couldn't even speak for a minute. My own daughter was standing there, blaming me for her lies, her theft, her skipping school, all of it. When I finally found my voice, I said, you're not getting a car. End of discussion. She blew up, screaming, crying, saying I was ruining her life and that all her friends had cars. She even said, if you loved me, you'd want me to be happy. Like, what does love have to do with rewarding bad behavior? She stormed off again, yelling, you'll regret this. I'll make sure you do. I just sat there, staring at the wall, wondering where I went wrong. I don't even know what to do anymore. How do you deal with this level of entitlement and deflection? I've tried being understanding, but this feels like a line has been crossed. Am I wrong for refusing to buy her a car? Should I be doing more to help her? Or is this just what happens when teenagers go off the rails? TLDR. My daughter lied about her grades, stole money from my purse, and blamed me for her mistakes when I refused to buy her a car. Now she's acting like I'm the bad guy, and I don't know what to do. Let's get into the aftermath, because things only got worse from there. After my daughter's meltdown about the car, I thought we'd hit rock bottom. Spoiler alert, we hadn't. If anything, that was just the beginning of the next level of chaos. The day after our argument, she wouldn't even look at me. Every time I tried to talk to her, she either ignored me or gave me the coldest attitude imaginable. Fine, whatever. I figured she just needed to cool off and that we'd talk when she was ready. Turns out, while I was giving her space, she was plotting her next move. That evening, I went to grab my laptop to do some work, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't where I'd left it. I checked around the house, thinking maybe I'd moved it and forgotten. Nope, nowhere to be found. I immediately got a sinking feeling in my stomach and went straight to her room. I asked her, "Have you seen my laptop?" She was lying on her bed, scrolling through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world, and said, "Nope, why would I have it?" But something about the way she said it made me suspicious. I started looking around her room, and that's when I saw the laptop bag shoved halfway under her bed. I pulled it out and opened it, and it was empty. I turned to her and said, "Where is it?" She finally looked up from her phone and had the audacity to say, "I sold it." Just like that, like it was no big deal. Y'all, I saw red. I said, "You what? Why would you sell my laptop?" And she shrugged and said, "I needed the money. You wouldn't give me any, so I had to figure it out myself." She said it like she was proud of herself for being so resourceful. I couldn't even believe what I was hearing. I asked her, "What did you need the money for that was so important you thought it was okay to steal from me?" And guess what? It wasn't for something essential like school supplies or even clothes. She sold my laptop to buy concert tickets and new sneakers. I told her, "Do you realize what you've done? That laptop wasn't just some random gadget. It's how I do my job. You've crossed a line." She rolled her eyes and said, "Well, maybe if you weren't so stingy, I wouldn't have to do this." At that point, I was done trying to reason with her. I told her, "You're grounded. No phone, no friends, no nothing until you learn some respect." And you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong. She started screaming at me, saying I was ruining her life and that I was an awful parent. She even threw in, "No wonder Dad left." For the record, her dad and I split years ago, and he hasn't been in the picture much since. After that, she slammed her door so hard I thought it was going to come off the hinges. I just stood there, shaking, wondering how it had come to this. I'd always tried to be a supportive parent. I wasn't perfect, sure, but I'd done my best to give her a good life, and now she was acting like I was the enemy. The next morning, I started making calls to figure out what to do about the laptop. I needed it for work, so replacing it wasn't optional. I ended up taking the money out of my savings, money I'd been putting aside for emergencies, and ordered a new one. I didn't tell her about it because, honestly, I didn't want her to think she'd won. But the damage was already done. The trust between us was completely shattered. Over the next few days, I tried to enforce the grounding, but she was determined to make my life hell. She'd sneak out of the house when I wasn't looking, blast music in her room late at night, and even accidentally break a couple of plates while doing the dishes. It felt like every day was a new battle. Then, one night, I came home from work and found her sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. I asked her, "What are you doing with your phone?" "I told you you're grounded." And she said, "Oh, I bought a new one. It's mine, so you can't take it away." Y'all, she had used the money from selling my laptop to buy herself a new phone. I couldn't even speak. I just walked to my room, closed the door and sat on the bed, feeling completely defeated. At this point, I don't even know what to do anymore. I've tried grounding her, taking things away and talking to her, but nothing seems to get through. She acts like I'm the bad guy for setting boundaries, but how am I supposed to just let this slide? If she doesn't learn accountability now, what's going to happen when she's out in the real world? So, Reddit, am I going too far by grounding her and refusing to buy her a car, or am I not going far enough? Because right now, it feels like nothing I do will ever get through to her. TLDR, after lying about her grades, stealing from me, and selling my laptop for concert tickets, my daughter is still blaming me for everything. I've tried grounding her, but she keeps pushing boundaries, and I'm at my wit's end. Am I wrong for standing my ground?